Hey everyone, Wisdom Say here. This is a guide for Yamagiwa with the 2020 Toyota Supra. Let's get this started. As we begin our lap guide, I would like to note that we are on the sports soft tires. Brake balance is at +1 or 1 to the rear, and you need to be smooth with this car. The weight of the car likes to shift around a lot, so if you drive too harshly, your car is going to be prone to sliding, which is going to cost you a lot of time. Your first braking point is before you reach the 50-meter board. Use around 50 to 60% braking power and gently turn in, just trying to stay really close to the curbs, and if you start to slide, you're going to lose time. Then when you're pointing away from the grandstands, you can then start to fully accelerate and just try to stay really close to the curbs. Then for the S's, it's possible to take it flat out, turn in when the curb on the left ends, take advantage of the curb on the right, take advantage of the curb on the left, but do not get on the grass, and then take advantage of the curb on the right once again. Try to turn in as smoothly as you can so the car won't slide around and you will not lose that much speed. Bring yourself towards the right and look for the start of the curb on the right as you want to brake before you pass it. Use 50 to 60% of your braking power and gently turn in. It's okay if you go a little wide, just bring yourself back in and start to fully accelerate when you start to point away from the red sign. You can also take a little bit of advantage of the curves, but just be careful because the curves don't have as much grip. Then your next braking point is the 150-meter board, and you only want to go down to 5th gear for stability. Brake as much as you can in a straight line, turn in at the 50-meter board, slowly ease off of the brakes, clip the apex while maintaining 2 wheels on the curves, and then do a lot of throttle control to maintain stability in the car. Once again, stay on 5th gear as that will help with your car stability. Try to turn in as gently as possible so the car will not lose control. Then your next braking point, just as the riding on the tarmac starts, brake hard for a short while, slowly ease off of the brakes, just focus on getting the car to rotate around a turn, gently accelerate to maintain maximum grip on the wheels. Then this part is a little difficult, so as you're turning in, you want to gradually ease off of the throttle, gently apply the brakes, and straighten up the car before the curb on the right ends so you can brake hard for a very short moment. Then ease off of the brakes, aim for the apex, clip it while maintaining 2 wheels on the curb, and gently accelerate, and hopefully you do not end up on the grass. Finally, your last braking point is the Marshall stand that is on the left. Brake hard for a short moment, slowly ease off of the brakes, go for somewhat of a late apex on 4th gear for extra stability, gently accelerate, and you are good to go. But that is all for the lap guide. Let's go ahead and take a look at the strategies. For this race, we are doing 10 laps at Kyoto Driving Park Yamagiwa, and this is a one-make race with a 2020 Toyota GR Supra. And we are given the sports soft and sports medium tires, and both tires need to be used for this race, so make sure you use both of them to avoid getting the 1-minute penalty that gets applied at the end of the race if you don't use both tire compounds. So because of that, you're going to be forced to make at least 1 pit stop, and with the pit stops being longer now, you only want to do 1 pit stop. So this race is a pretty easy 1-stop race. Well, easy in terms of pit stop strategy, but this car, it's not exactly the easiest to handle. So of course, this is a road car, this is not a race car, so the car is going to handle a lot differently. Also avoid the inside curves for those high-speed turns because your car will slide around like that. But anyways, so you have to drive this car a little differently. You want to try to drive as smoothly as possible, and you want the weight to shift around as little or as smoothly as possible, because if you start to overdrive the car and you push it too much, so let's say you brake hard for a turn and then try to turn in right away, the weight's going to shift around all of a sudden and it's going to cause the car to start to slide around. And because of that, that is going to make you lose a lot of time, and that's going to contribute quite a bit of tire wear. And the tire wear is a ×8, so tire wear is a bit of an issue here. Fuel is not an issue because fuel is a ×2, so don't worry about that. You want to worry more about the tire wear. So driving smoothly is going to be key to making your soft tires last as long as possible. Ideally, you want to make your soft tires last at least 5 laps. If you can make them last longer, then that's better. So driving smoothly is going to be key to making the tires last as long as possible, and it's going to play a pretty big key in making up a lot of time. So for example, going through the chicanes, if you drive smoothly, now your apexes, and just keep the car nice and stable without the weight shifting around way too fast, then your car is obviously going to stay stable, and you're going to be able to gain a lot of time on those around you. And before I forget, I would like to note that I had the brake balance at +1, so 1 to the rear, so I can try to save the tire life of the front tires because the front tires wear out faster. Also, as you go up the S's, don't be afraid to lift off of throttle. I know in the lap guide I went through it flat out, but during the race, don't be afraid to lift off of throttle a bit because that'll help maintain stability on your car. And if you take the S's wrong, it's very easy for the car to want to spin out on you. So drive smoothly as possible, drive carefully while maintaining a good pace, and the Supra will not do super things and spin out. But before I talk more about driving smoothly, let's show the pit stop sequence and the penalty steering zone. So just after the final turn, the penalty steering zone is going to show up, and just after that starts, just bring yourself to the left and there is the pit stop. So you end up losing around 17 seconds. That's going to be your pit loss, so you only want to go for a 1 stop. Once again, both sports soft and sports medium tires are required for this race, so you do have to use both tire compounds. Ideally, you want to make your sports soft tires last at least 5 laps, but if you can go further than that, then definitely do so. Just make sure you're not losing too much time, because once you're starting to lose too much time, then it's time to pit and change on over to the other tires. And if you're starting towards the middle or the back of the pack, start on the sports medium tires, get the slower tire compound out of the way, and then switch on over to the sports soft tires. But anyways, I just wanted to mention once again, driving smoothly is going to be key to getting good times, especially with this car. The smoother you're able to drive it, the faster you'll be able to go. And yeah, so that's pretty much it in terms of driving smoothly. I don't want to repeat myself for the millionth time today, so let's go ahead and show places to overtake. So once again, the penalty steering zone just before the pit stop on the main straight. And this is a good place to get an overtake done, especially if the car ahead of you got a bad exit. Try to get the overtake done before you enter turn 1 so you don't have to battle your way through turn 1 as you're going to lose a lot of time. And in a moment, I'm going to fast forward through this. And this part, you want to go in a single file line. And it is possible to get an overtake done over here, especially if the car in front of you ended up hitting the wall or they lost control. Or in the case of this turn, they end up going too wide. So don't go too wide because that opens yourself up to get overtaken. And ideally, you don't want to go for overtake here because you can try to save the overtake opportunity for the moment after this chicane. People are going to go through the chicane at various paces, so if you know you can get that chicane nailed down, then it's pretty easy for you to be able to gain a couple spots on your way to this turn, which is another potential place to get overtake done. And after this, leading up to the second chicane, ideally you don't want to try to go too wide, so try to go in a single file line. And just like the first chicane, a lot of people are going to take it differently, so if you know you can get that chicane nailed down, you can set yourself up to get a nice clean overtake, especially as you lead your way onto the final turn, which is another place to get an overtake done. So in a way, this race is all about timing your overtakes and knowing where you're really good at and where those around you are not so good at, because then you can exploit the weaknesses and easily get around them. But anyways, that is pretty much it for this guide. I'm going to go ahead and sign off now and go to sleep because it's 4 in the morning. But anyways, that's all for me. I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. So this is Mr. CA wishing you a good race, and I'll see you in the next video.